For decades, examples of misconduct in research practices have been publicly exposed. But what exactly is research integrity, and what is responsible conduct of research, and how are they to be understood in its historical context? Some events in the past have evoked much debate on research integrity. It was in the early 80s last century that a book titled Betrayers of the Truth, Fraud and Deceit in the Halls of Science, which was written by William Broad and Nicholas Wade, has led to a lot of debate in the academic community and the broader public. They described 34 cases of misconduct in their book, which raised a lot of discussion. The suggestion seemed that many academics are now susceptible to fraudulent behavior and that misconduct is actually common practice in scientific research practices. The questions that arose vary from how rare and uncommon is fraudulent behavior exactly? Is it like rotten apples in the fruit basket? Or is it rather the tip of the iceberg that hides a lot of misbehavior? And can we still trust as a public audience the results of scientific research? And the most important question, how can we prevent such misconduct? In the early 19th century, Charles Babbage already published a booklet called Reflections on the Decline of Science in England, and he showed cases of fraud like hoaxing, forging, trimming, and cooking. His work has been leading to define categories of misconduct. Yet, be aware, according to a very strict interpretation of his work, many very high-standing scientists could be accused of misconduct, namely that they were picking the empirical data that best fitted with their theory. But not all mistakes are intentional nor fraudulent. Yet, over time, it remains true that a lot of cases can be found where researchers claim the credits for findings that were not their own, or steal manuscripts, or invent data and analysis, or get them research funding that was misused for their own benefit. In the worst cases, these findings can be very authoritative for new research, and then we stand on the shoulders of the wrong giants, or we can even harm persons and animals and nature using these results. The answer to all these discussions has been a turn to a view on what good research entails and how to do it right. Already in 1988, the National Academy of Sciences has published a guide for researchers called On Being a Scientist. The National Academy of Science published this in order to give some good guidelines on how to do research well. But also, together with the NIH and ORI, these organizations started to request trainings in responsible conduct of research. The purpose was to increase awareness about all those things in research practice that do not immediately concern your research topic only. Like doing research well implies taking notice of other topics like respecting a research subject or handling conflicts of interests or how to avoid a career perspective taking over from reliable results. Over the years, appealing tools have been developed to make discussions on responsible conduct of research more transparent. We show you a few examples of such interesting tools. Institutional changes were stimulated by several activities. First, by developing and implementing codes of conduct. Most countries nowadays embrace some code of conduct. Secondly, by installing committees and officers that check upon misconduct and where complaints can be filed. Thirdly, publishers and grant application offices changed their policies or are in the process of changing their policies in order to separate career benefits from good publications and proposals. And fourthly, worldwide discussions are raised and stimuli are promoted to change the pressing forces like impact factors and career opportunities and rethink what being a good scientist entails. The DORA principles are a good example of this. Now, you might wonder at the end of this, is RCR really different from all these other concepts and discussions that I see in the field? Well, for us, it is fine if you just remember that RCR is about taking a positive attitude towards science. You want to do it well, and RCR is meant to help you reach that.